Greetings everyone. I'm Dr. Chris Fleming, an Associate Professor in the School of Humanities and Communication Arts at Western Sydney University and a member of the Writing and Society Research Centre and what else? The Philosophy Research Initiative and a whole bunch of other things. Anyway, none of that matters. What matters is that you're here enrolled in What is the Human with the unit code 101010. All I want to do in this video is just welcome you to the unit. There is nothing you have to read for next week. There's no prep that you need to do, but you do need to show up next week. And you should be enrolled by now in a 2-hour, it's blocked as a 2-hour seminar or lectorial, and they're all online. And so you are to be enrolled in one of those and you turn up to the one that you are enrolled in next week. In those classes, we'll be going through, next week, we'll be going through the structure of the unit, the kind of approaches that we're going to take, the assessments, the requirements, and so on. But what I did want to say at this point is there is nothing to buy. You don't have to head out to the shops and buy yourself a textbook. All of the materials, all the written materials for this unit will be available online in PDF format, or they will be linked to the library website. Now, having said that, I know if you're like me, you like to occasionally burn some cash on books. If that is the case, then I'm very happy to offer you recommendations about the kinds of books you might want to have a look at. But everything that you need, in fact, more than what you need, will be available on the Views site. Now, you'll notice at this stage, the Views site is pretty bare. There's not much on it, and that's deliberate in part. I want to make things really simple to start with, and you will see the unit and the course content build over the course of the semester as we fill things out in different kinds of ways. Having said that, my own approach to teaching is pretty minimal. I'm not very sympathetic to approaches to teaching that every week gives you 4 readings to read, 5 video links, a few documents, what else, a dance to do or something? I've got no idea. My interest is I'm interested in difficult thinking. I'm interested in serious thinking, but I don't want to create a Views site that is so complicated and has so many different parts that half your task is figuring out how all the things work together. So, and that's just the way I prefer to be taught myself, but also I don't think my brain can handle the kind of complexity a lot of the time that people use on these kind of educational sites. Nonetheless, have a look at the learning guide when you get a chance. Have a scan through the topics. Now, let me just say that as a human being, I'm assuming only human beings are doing this unit, although we can never be sure, can we? That you will be interested in the idea of what a human being is. Now, what I'm going to explore next week and the week after is why would we bother asking the question? That's the first thing. Why? Because people might go through their whole life without ever asking the question, what is a human being? What is human nature? Right? So presumably there's a reason you might want to ask that question. And I'm going to try to demonstrate to you that implicitly we do, in fact, ask that question a lot. And we act in the world as if we know what the nature of a human being is in a whole lot of different areas, law, in media, in our day-to-day lives. The second question I want to ask is, can we answer it? Is it a question that we are capable of providing answers to? Because there are some questions you might say are beyond the realm of human knowledge. And so that's the next question we'd want to ask. Now, I'm going to defer the answer to the first for next week, but the second is, obviously, I run a unit called What is the Human? And I think we can, in fact, provide some answers to the question of what a human being is. Now, one of the good things about teaching a unit like this, at least from your perspective, is you are going to be able to check whether what I'm saying makes sense or not. What do I mean? Well, if I make a claim about what a human being is or how they experience things or these kinds of, make those kind of points, then one way of checking it is you say, is this true to my experience? Is this true to my understanding of myself? If it's not, you've got a pretty good argument against what I've just said. Now, relying on your own personal experience as to what a human being is not going to be sufficient. We're going to have to do some serious reading and some serious study. Now, I said that the way I try to run units is simple, but we shouldn't confuse that with the idea of what is easy. Simplicity and difficulty are different things. The ideas in this unit, some of them are going to be complicated. We deal with ideas of paradox, for instance, that are not initially easy to get your head around. But hopefully, and if I do my job right, and if you do your job as a student, we're going to get through it and hopefully not just learn a lot, but actually enjoy ourselves. I'm not saying that, as a kind of weak encouragement and maybe how, study is fun. I don't really believe that. I think the stuff in this unit and the kinds of ideas we're going to be looking at, you should actually find very interesting, very exciting. After all, you've all got a vested interest in learning about what a human being is, how human beings function, given that you are, in fact, a human being and you will deal with human beings for the rest of your life. So in terms of the relevance of this unit, it's pretty hard to argue that there is a more relevant unit going at the moment. But anyway, these are just promises. You'll see whether I can make good on them. You'll see whether the things that I've just said are true. And you'll get into week 2 and go, oh, this is terrible. I'll leave it to you, but I'd invite you now to have a look at the learning guide. And I will make announcements as things proceed to update you on what is going on. I'm going to try not to overwhelm you with multiple announcements all the time about changes in this and additions and that, and have a look at that. I'll try to keep the communications to a minimum, but I'll try to be very clear about what is required, when those things are required, and what you're to do on a weekly basis. I want to give you a guide as to what to do every week. Not only that, every week I want to give you a sense of where we have been and where we are going. And the other thing is why we're going there. Why would we look at the topics that we're looking at? It's not always self-evident why someone is telling you something, even if it's a piece of knowledge. The question is always why? Why is this interesting? Why is this relevant? Why is this important? And why are we looking at it in the way that we are? But all this we can hold over. So what do? You download your learning guide, you have a look at that, you keep your eye out for announcements, and you turn up to your seminars next week. I'm looking forward to getting to meet you. And I think that's bye for now. Take care of yourselves, please.